6 months ago, I thought I knew what coffee was, and I was wrong. Hello, my name is Karen Egidi, and I am here today with my colleague, Jorge Castro. I recently began a new chapter in my life, one that brought me into the specialty coffee world. I am 27 years old, and I hold a degree in business administration with focus on international trade. I used to work with my family in a real estate company, and there I was in charge of everything regarding the relationship with clients, with billing, payments, and so on. And I joined Inmaculada 6 months ago as the new sales coordinator for Canada, USA, Europe, and UK. And I quickly realized that it was not just a job. It was an invitation to discover a whole new, different way of understanding coffee. So Jorge is going to tell you now about his trip in the coffee industry.
Hello everyone, how are you? My name is Jorge Castro. I have been working in Inmaculada Coffee for 7 years now. I'm an industrial engineer. My background was more into massive consumption. I used to work in Colgate Palmolive for almost 2 years in logistics and warehousing. You know, very objective, very numeric, everything is measured. I hated coffee at that time because in Colombia, the usual coffee you drink is, you know, super bitter, dark roast. You use it as a gasoline to work, but I didn't like it. I had like a stomach ache on that, but then one of the owners and stockholders of Inmaculada is an uncle of mine, so I tried a coffee from Inmaculada. I remember it was a classic natural geisha, and that coffee was amazing. I couldn't understand why coffee was tasting like that, so I get into this world, and I'm very happy nowadays. I have been understanding a lot of parts in the coffee supply chain and value chain, more into the productive part. I started introducing and creating the processes to being more objective, you know, because a farm is not working usually as a company or as our enterprise. It's very non-numeric, everything is written on paper, so my main job was to create all the KPIs and standardize in Inmaculada, and afterwards we did that. We introduced a mobile app, a lot of things to put data towards and analyze weather conditions. We even have stations in the farm. And after that, I moved towards the production and sales area.
So we are located in Pichindé. This is a district in Cali, in Colombia. We are surrounded by the Farallones Natural Park. In Colombia, we have the 3 mountain ranges. We are in the Western Mountain Range, and all our farms are located in an elevation ranging between 1,750 to 2,000 meters above sea level.
Now, our essence, basically what we do and how we do it. We cultivate, source, and process specialty coffee. This means that we follow the CA rules, but we have our own more strict rule that is above 85 in score that we should export this type of coffees. The journey of Inmaculada started in 2010 with an idea of the stockholders to do things differently, to showcase all of the terroir, to connect the world, and also to help the community of Pichindé, like Karen was telling. And we have 4 values that are the backbones of our company: integrity, excellence, sustainability, and innovation. The first one and the most important one is integrity. In coffee, everything is about the trust, so integrity is very important, you know, because you have to put everything up front, all the process that you do, all the traceability, what does the coffee went through, what processes it was done. Also, excellence is a second value that is more towards being very objective, measure everything, pursuing the efficiency of the processes. And the sustainability one is very important for the farming and in specialty coffee. In our process, we have our agroforestry system. That is how we add sustainability. And how we see sustainability is not to deplete the resources, but to build soil, so in the future we can continue farming and even producing better quality coffee. And the last one is innovation. As you can know, specialty coffee world is a fast-paced world. Everyone wants new things, you know, like they think that it's like putting a flavor in a soda in coffee business, but it takes a lot of time to plant a variety, to test and everything. So how we add innovation is basically moving a lot of things and measuring in how to ferment, how to dry, shift, for example, temperatures, cross-mode of fermentation, different types of drying, and that's how we innovate in our process.
So as I already mentioned, we have 5 farms, and they are very close to each other. They are all in Pichinde, and they are around 16 hectares. Out of these hectares, 35 are with coffee cultivation. Around 11 are still untouched forests, and the remaining are with gardens and infrastructure of our farms.
Okay, now why we are so famous? First is because the varieties we produce and how we produce, and the second one will be the recognitions and award. Barista and brewers all over the world, they have used our coffees in both nationals or in the world championships. Inmaculada, well, with the coffee of Inmaculada, they have won several awards. The most famous ones is the World Barista Championship in 2015. Sasa Sestic won with a Sudan Rumé of Inmaculada, carbonic maceration Sudan Rumé. Then in the 2021, we had the first place in both brewers and barista. In barista, Diego Campos from Colombia used the eugenoides, full eugenoides in all of the beverage there, and he won. And in 2021, Matt Winton used a blend of eugenoides with an Ecuadorian coffee, and let's say that was the year that the eugenoides was skyrocketing like that world in the world of the coffee, specialty coffee.
Today, Inmaculada is in a lot of regions across the world, and each pin shows where our coffees are being enjoyed today. And we feel very proud to be part of a global industry that values not only the innovation and the high quality, but the traceability of the specialty coffee too. So we have 2 branches of the business. So from one side, we have the Inmaculada exotic varieties, and we have the Inmaculada Fellows Farms project.
In our first branch, in Inmaculada exotic varieties, we have 2 product lines. We have the striking terroir and the signature product line. The striking terroir is a product line aimed for competitions. You know, there's a high demand of competition coffees. Really small batches from 6 to 12 kilos that they are shifting a lot what they are looking for in those coffees, but we are adapting our varieties to those types of needs, doing, like I told you in the innovation, a lot of cross-mode of fermentation, filling the fermentation with cascara of different varieties, changing the temperature and the drying processes, adding, for example, the humidifying room, also resting periods in the drying of the coffee. And the other product line is the signature product line that is, let's say, the soul of our brand and our classic expression of our coffees, that the objective is basically showcasing the most of each variety that we have tried in all of our process. For example, our geisha is sold in natural process in the signature product line because it's the process that highlights the most of the variety and what we want to showcase of the terroir and the conditions, that it's a very citric, elegant coffees, but with all the sweetness and better body. Also in Sudan Rumé, for example, it's a natural anaerobic process. In eugenoides is also a natural anaerobic process because it's showcasing the best of the variety with our standards and our soul of the project. Which varieties we plant at Inmaculada? We have eugenoides, Sudan Rumé, Laurina, and geisha. That's our varieties that we have like for commercial purposes, but we are also testing Sidra, Típica Mejorado, and Pacamara in small plots to see if actually they react well to our climate conditions, and we can expand it because we had some, in the past, some experiences, for example, with SL28, that with our conditions, because it's high humidity, lower temperatures, it didn't survive, the variety didn't survive. Also, moving on with the sustainable value, we have the agroforestry cultivation. Basically, what is agroforestry cultivation is adding different trees, more than coffee, into the plantation, and you also have to manage different plantations, not only coffee. So why we do this? It's a way of having a buffer or moderating climate change, because in this way, when there's a heavy sunlight, it can protect from the sunlight the coffee. It also acts as a shield for the wind to reduce the speed, and also it reduces the speed of the rain. That is very important, because when it's heavy, there's heavy rains, the flowers can drop, and also even the state of ripeness, they can drop when it's overripe to the floor. Also, it's very important because it contributes to the organic matter of the soil, so you can create soil to your future. This is the theory of how we plant agroforestry. Basically, we have two types of trees that are like the big shade trees. There are the carboneros and guamos. They provide different levels of canopy shades. We have barriers of citronella, that is a grass, a type of grass, to prevent erosion. So the first carbonero and guamos are to provide shade. The citronella is to prevent erosion and also to absorb humidity when there's a very dry season. Antefrosia is a leguminous that adds nitrogen to the soil, and it has a really short life cycle. So when the coffee is growing, it protects a lot the coffee from the wind.
Okay, Jorge already explained the Inmaculada exotics, and now we have our project that is called Fellows Farms. It started in 2022, and it is a social project that we saw the opportunity to help smaller farmers to get their coffee to the international market. So what we do is that we buy the cherry, and when I say cherry, I mean the coffee fruit, without any processing, without any fermentation, drying, and we do it by our own farm. So we do all the post-harvest process, and it helps us to maintain the high quality, and yes, and it also helps us to get more offer of these exotic varieties, like the pink bourbon, the papayo, caturron, chili bourbon, striped bourbon, and tegation. And something very important of this project is that it helps us to increase the capacity of processing that we already have in the farm, and it also helps us to have lower prices of the coffee. Some other benefits are, for example, the harvest, because we give bonuses for the farmers to incentivize a good harvest of picking the cherry in a good ripeness state. So we take all the risk, all the responsibility, and the cost of transporting the cherries from the Huila region to Cali, where we are. It actually takes around 10 hours with the truck to get the cherry to us. And we help the farmers with everything regarding technical support, and we help them with the agronomics and processing practices, so we educate the farmers too. And what we do is that we give all the international recognition to the farmers, so our clients will get all the information about where we got the cherry and everything in the process.
Okay, now the process that all of our coffees from the fellows or from the exotic product lines of Inmaculada Farms follow is the following process. We have wet mill in the top, then a dry mill. In the wet mill, we have the classification process. It's basically removing the floaters. We do it with a continuous machine that has a very nice speed. Then we have electronic sorting. That is basically an optical sorting by color. And each variety, you can set which color it wants to shoot, and it will shoot it. And we do different, like several times, we pass it through that machine, because you have to take out the greens. They have underripe and, for example, the overripe. So it's 3 different colors. So it has to be at least 3 times passing through that machine or system. Then we have manual sorting. Why manual sorting? Because even the machine has a rejection defect percentage. So in that purpose, the manual sorting, what they are doing is taking the good out of the bad and put it again into the good kilograms. So because sometimes the machine is shooting the good cherries. For example, when they tear the part that is green and it's stick to the branch, the machine will shoot it. So that, and it could be a good cherry. Then we have the fermentation process. This is a yes or no. It depends on which process we are doing. For example, in the classic natural, we avoid the fermentations. It's a controlled temperature room. We are using plastic tanks. It's actually working in scaling our business. Then we have the drying process. We have 3 different drying techniques. We have one that is a hybrid between mechanical and the greenhouse that is called oreador. That is a big box that if there's no sunlight, you can put gas, but if there's sunlight, you can take advantage of the sunlight. Then we have the beds in a carousels. That's a second type of drying. And the last one is the dehumidifying room for special lots. Also, we have our quality control area and process. Every SKU is cupped, so you can see all the information. You can get all the information of this batch. The warehousing process, and we have our own miller, a Pinalense, 500 kilograms per hour. It can do. So we mill and pack, and we pack the coffees in vacuum boxes of 2 units of 12 kilos each to preserve the quality of the beans. And this is some examples of the type of processes or the main processes we do at Inmaculada, both for the fellows or for our varieties. We have the honey anaerobic. Is basically you depulp the coffee after the floating and electronical sorter. You put into the fermentation and into drying. The classic natural, you don't pulp and you don't ferment, but yes, all of the processes pass through the floating and the electronic sorting. And the natural anaerobic is the same that the classic anaerobic, just that you put some fermentation in a different length, depending on the variety, and a different temperature. And all of this information, we send it to the customers or to the roasters or green buyers who are distributing our coffees in the market. And thank you, Wakefield, for the invitation, and Jamie, to showcase our products and our project. Thank you very much.
We hope you enjoyed the coffee.